This is from New York Post. 1/3 of U.S. teenagers say that they almost constantly use at least one of the top 5 social media sites, such as YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, according to a study conducted by the Pew Research Center. YouTube remained the clear-cut favorite for the second year in a row, with 93% of users aged 13 to 17 logging into the Google-owned site, according to the survey of nearly 1,500 teens published on Monday. TikTok was next to 63%, and that's how it all breaks down. And then, let's say TikTok users are even more hooked, with 17% saying that they almost constantly scroll through the app each day, despite it being the first choice of 58%. So, every few weeks we get another one of these studies. And the basic headline of this study, which probably is not a shock to anyone, is that you have millions of young people and teenagers who, according to their own responses, apparently to the survey, they are almost constantly scrolling. They're almost constantly on their phone. And I know you guys probably get tired of hearing me drone on about this, but I really, really wish that we would all stop and think about what it means, like what this actually means. What does it mean to have kids who are scrolling on social media, quote unquote, almost constantly? Because almost constantly means basically nonstop. It means you are rarely doing anything else with your time. And of course, nobody denies that plenty of kids and adults are indeed on their phones almost constantly. But I think we don't stop to think about what that means. Because if we did stop to think about what that means, it wouldn't be happening. If we really thought about what that means, every parent would go home and they would take their kid's phone and they would never give it back to them. And most parents aren't doing that, which means that they really don't get it. They don't understand. In fact, I think that most people tend to think that the young generation being obsessed with new technology is kind of normal and par for the course. They're not very alarmed by it. And maybe it is, but the obsession is different here, because like when I was a kid, the big concern then in the 90s was about TV, people spending way too much. And we get all these studies, every year or something, there'll be another study about the amount of time that Americans spend and young people spend and kids spend watching TV. And it was a problem. People spent way too much time watching television. But at least your television is at home, and you have to be at home or at someone's home to watch it. It's like a stationary object, and you have to go to it to watch it. And even if we had 100 cable channels or whatever it was, there was still a finite amount of content on TV that you wanted to watch. So there were just these built-in parameters. There were these rules for engagement. There were these limiting principles, even to that technology that certainly did dominate people's lives more than it should, and still does. But the phone is different because it goes with you everywhere. You never escape it. And the content is infinite. It never ends. It's not self-limiting in any way. So it grabs hold of you, and it grabs this stranglehold on you in a way that is simply unprecedented in human history. There's been plenty of technology that has reshaped humanity, like when cars came along, and humanity at that point verged off in a different direction. It looks very different now than it would if cars were never invented. But there's never been one single device that has become nearly the sole focal point of existence. That is what is unique here. And that's why we're in new territory. And I really wish that people could see that. And I know they can't, because like I said, if they did see it and understand what we're dealing with, they would take drastic action to protect their kids from what is currently happening to them. And I'm not exempt from this as a parent. As you know, my kids don't have phones. They don't really have any tech outside of the one TV that we own and share as a family. And because I just refuse to let phones take over my kids' lives. And you know what? there are people who say, well, if you don't give the phone to your kid, then they'll be alienated from their friends. And that's not entirely wrong. I mean, my kids have friends, and they are a little bit alienated from them. And as like my kids get a little bit older, you feel this more and more. You see this more and more, that they don't have that shared kind of frame of reference. Like for most kids, their whole frame of reference for life is the phone. And so then my kids come in and they have no access to any of that. And so they don't have that frame of reference. And so it is a little bit alienating, which I don't like. I wish it wasn't like that, but it's a sacrifice that is worth it right now. My kids might not see that it's worth it. They don't see that, but I'm the adult, so I'm supposed to be able to see farther than they can. And I just am absolutely dead set in my conviction and my wife's conviction that they are going to have a childhood. Whether they like it or not, they're going to have a real childhood that is not consumed by the phone. Keeping your windshields clean is always a pain, especially in the winter. Dirt and salt pile up and washer fluid just can't get the job done. That's where my friends at Windshield Wow come in to save the day. Windshield Wow is an innovative windshield cleaning device that uses two magnetic cleaning paddles, one on the outside and one on the inside of your car, to clean both sides of your windshield, all from the outside. All you do is push around the outside paddle, and the inside follows automatically, leaving your windshield squeaky clean. We get a lot of rain here in Nashville, which leaves you with a hazy and dirty windshield. Throw one of these in the back of your car so you can always have a clean windshield. I personally own a Windshield Wow. This is one of the best products for my car windshield. Being able to clean both the front and the inside at the same time is a game changer. I wish I had one of these years ago. The Windshield Wow applies firm cleaning pressure. It's super thin to get into those tight dashboard areas. So what are you waiting for? Go to windshieldwow.com. Use code Walsh at checkout for a special discount. That's windshieldwow.com and use code Walsh. Are you struggling with the back taxes or unfiled returns? The IRS is escalating collections by adding 20,000 new agents. In these challenging times, your best defense is to use Tax Network USA. With over 14 years of experience, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in back taxes. No matter your tax issue size, the experts at Tax Network USA can help you. They specialize in negotiating with the IRS and aim to reduce your debt significantly. Tax Network USA doesn't just negotiate, they protect your assets from IRS seizures and manage your yearly returns for ongoing compliance. Importantly, they are licensed to help with all state tax issues, regardless of where you live in the U.S. Seize control of your financial future now and don't let tax issues overpower you. Contact Tax Network USA for immediate relief and expert guidance. Call 855-225-1040 or visit tnusa.com/Walsh. Turn to Tax Network USA and find your path to financial peace of mind. That's tnusa.com/Walsh. The point is, we've introduced a little bit of this stuff very, very sparingly. So we do have we have tablets for the kids with just games and books on them. There's no internet access, and the rule is that on long car trips, they can use the tablets. Not the whole time, but like it's a resource we can use in long car. We take a lot of long car trips. We're talking 18-hour car trips type. When I say long, that's what I mean. And so in those kinds of contexts, like they have the tablet for limited times. And that's what we've mostly relegated it to. Recently, though, we started to get a little bit more, slightly more relaxed about it, slightly. And so we would let the kids, for very limited times, use the tablets in the house. And this is always, it's like no one is exempt from it. As a parent, you're always like, well, okay, we're not doing this. And then you're like, okay, we'll do it. Okay, we'll do it, but only in this context, and then quit. And this is how it always works with the tech stuff. But it's, so every once in a while, so maybe totaling like an hour a week total of when they're on the tablets in the house, but not on the internet. And then a few days ago, my youngest son was using the tablet very briefly in the house. And we told him the tablet time was over. And he had a little bit of a meltdown when we took the tablet away. And I've never seen this with my kids before. This was like this drug addict withdrawal response from tech. Never seen it with my kids. First time. I've seen it with other kids all the time. This is very common. This is how other kids respond. You take away the video game, take away the phone, and they just lose it. First time I'd seen it with one of my kids, and it was after just a little bit of exposure. And it was a very, it's one of those, I thought I was already awake to it's kind of an awakening moment, but although I thought I was already pretty aware of the problem. So I took the tablet and threw it in the trash, and that was it. And I've been thinking ever since, like, man, if my kids can become that attached to the tech from having such limited access to it, what's going on with so many of these other kids? I mean, it's scary. Like just a little bit, it just has this pull, and if you're not careful, that's how it consumes your kid's life. I will say my wife was a little bit annoyed that I threw the tablet away, though. Admittedly, she's like, "You could have just put it in a drawer. You didn't have to throw it in the trash." Well, you got to be a little bit more definitive and dramatic sometimes as a parent. And also this is a dad tradition that I'm carrying on. Hey YouTube, thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like access to my full show with no ads, you should go to dailywire.com and use promo code Walsh to get 2 months free on all annual plans. See you there.